You're tuned to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay, and this is a program called
The Wonderful World of Wardini Books.
What a pleasure to have you in this studio again, Lou from Wardini Books in Havelock North. How you been?
Yeah, very well, yeah.
And you've been flat out like a lizard drinking?
It's been ticking along nicely.
That is good. People still reading. And I was reading somewhere the other day that the book, hand-in-hand book that you have there, is still more popular than the old, turn on the old computer and read it on the computer.
I don't see why it wouldn't be, really.
No, exactly.
You never really own it if it's on a Kindle or something, do you? I can't lend you it.
No, and you can't beat having... Have you got a bookcase at home full of books?
Yeah.
You cannot beat that.
No.
Even if you don't read any books.
It's
it looks
just nice
good,
to look at it.
doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, all those words and all that knowledge.
Yeah, that's
all
right. I
those
must
stories.
get around to reading them. I've been collecting books at home from sales that when I retire one day, I said to my wife, I'm going to sit and read those books one day.
Yep.
She said, yeah, right.
When you finish that garden.
That's right, exactly. Anyway, we've got three fabulous more books to look at today, and the first one is called Exit Through the Gift Shop. What's that all about?
It's by Marion Master and illustrated by Astrid Hicks, and it is illustrated beautifully throughout.
Yes, nice.
And it's a chapter book, I would say, for kids of about 9 and up, and it's really unusual, Ken, because the protagonist, this is the very first page, so here's the thing, I'm dying.
Oh, no.
And she's 12 and a half. Her name is Anahita Rosalind Gorban Galaschuk. Yes, that's really her name, but you can call her Anna.
I would.
Okay. She's 12 and a half, and she's got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which she explains in the book is the bad one. I think they're both quite bad.
It's fatal.
Yeah. So there are a few things that... It's a novel, by the way, I should say. And... she's got a few things to do before she exits through the gift shop, sort of thing. You know?
I'm depressed already.
No, it's one of those ones that you think, gosh, this is going to be hard, you know. And it's quite confronting to have a first page like that. But she's a normal kid who is going to school. She's half Iranian, and she is got a best friend called Al, who I had to look up. And he's a real cool kid, and he keeps her on the straight and narrow. And her arch nemesis is this girl at school called Alyssa, and she's the one with the blonde, swingy hair, and she just seems to be all shiny, the popular girl. And she is relentlessly mean to Anna ever since she turned up at this school. And so she's negotiating all this, and she with her friend and her parents. And there's there's a big blended family involved as well. So she lives with her mum, who is into, I don't know, crystals and believes in an afterlife and all that kind of thing. And then there's her dad, who lives with his new partner, who has like 1 million children. She's always going on about her 1 million step siblings. And they're all lovely. And there's dogs. And Wanda is the name of the stepmom. And she's great too. Very no nonsense. And Dad traditionally did not believe in an afterlife until his daughter was heading there quicker than imagined. And so, you know... they've talked about it quite a lot, and I quite like that there's a lot of non-judgmental talking about the after in this book. And it is really about her absolutely living her best life and tackling this bully who is awful. You know, she's thinking, well, when I have to go and tell school that this is, you know, they haven't told school yet that she's very, very ill indeed, then surely... butt breath, she calls her, Alyssa, will just like fall on her knees and beg for forgiveness. And so that's an interesting part of the plot, is whether Alyssa chooses to do that or if she doesn't choose to do that. And so and then why is she being such a nasty bully? So there's lots of why people behave conversations, and a lot of conversations around how you talk to children about death and dying, because we don't.
And you wouldn't want to in the main, would you really, unless this situation arose, I suppose. But when we don't even like talking about it as adults. Yeah,
we're not good at it.
No, never mind, having to talk to a littlie. Yeah. But obviously, does it have a happy ending, so to speak? Or
it ends, she's certainly still alive because it's first person. Yeah. Like what it is that she's been given a class project to do a piece of writing. And this book that she then writes becomes her class project about her life and about her illness. And, it's just quite gorgeous. And it doesn't end with her dying. But she does say, in the end, none of it matters and all of it matters. And she does give a little bit about what matters in life.
Yes.
Yeah. And those are her parting words. So then you make up your mind whether she's died or not.
What about the bully? Did the bully have a reason for being a bully? Was the bully being bullied somewhere else, maybe?
She did have a big reason for being bullied, but it wasn't it wasn't good enough. She was feeling a lot of pain elsewhere,
Yeah.
and she was taking it out on this girl, and that's never a good thing, is
No,
it?
it is not. Out of 10, what would you give that book?
Well, I mean, it's so unusual, isn't it? Let's
Yeah.
give it a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
And it won't be for everyone, but I can imagine if you've got kids going through something like this, or
Yeah.
they've got a friend that's been going through something like this, then it would be quite comforting.
Better
to them.
understanding of it all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, and the next one sounds a whole lot more cheerful. The Prettiest.
Well, Ken.
But it's not, obviously.
This is for kids probably of about 10 and up in this one, and it's by Bridget Young. And it's really important, and I think there are some really cool conversations that families can have around this too. So there's Eve, who's at school, and Sophie, who's the popular kid in this one, and then Nessa, who is Eve's best mate. And Nessa is a bigger girl, and she is the queen of the drama. Beautiful singing voice, amazing actress. You know, she's the star. Eve's really quiet and shy. And something, they're at intermediate school, middle school, so I think that's, in America, that's our intermediate school, isn't it? And then some kid posts online a list ranking the top 50 prettiest girls in the 8th grade.
No.
And Eve is number 1, and Sophie is number 2. And Sophie is not happy, and Eve is suddenly being looked at by everybody, and everybody's bitching and moaning, and there's drama going on, and this girl's crying in the toilets because they're not even on the list.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God. And poor Eve, who's quite, you know, they're all going through puberty and out the other end of it, and she's so self-conscious about those changes anyway, and now she's got everyone looking at her. And then it's like, who made the list? Did you make the list so that you could be number 1? You know, and so it's just...
No, recriminations all over the place.
Absolute poo-poos hit the fan.
Yeah.
And there's just it's so complicated. And even like Eve's dad's going, well, isn't that nice that you're number 1? And her brother's like, my God, Dad, she's being objectified.
Yes.
You know, around the dinner table,
Yes.
there are these conversations going, and like, no, let's stop this absolute nonsense that you're ranked on how you look, because it's nonsense. So there's all that going on, and the coolest thing about it is that Sophie, who is perfectly made up the whole time and has got her hair done the whole time and is immaculately dressed the whole time, there's a lot going on in that kid's life too. And she bases everything on the way she looks, and she's trying to stop people knowing that she actually comes from quite a poor background. But eventually these 3 girls kind of team up to find out what's going on, and it's quite epic. It's funny, and it's a really strongly feminist message.
Is it something that I mean, obviously that does go on. Is it something that across your life you've experienced in one way or another? I mean, obviously it does go on. Have you personally experienced that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, at high school it would have been that way. You know, I was talking about this not quite recently. You know, the first time as a young teenager that I shaved my legs was because a boy had told me how disgusting my hairy legs were.
Really?
Why didn't I stop and think?
Yes.
Well, what about your disgusting hairy legs? How is it different?
Yeah, no, you were being objectified.
I was being
Absolutely.
something.
You have lived through
judged on it. Yeah.
You came out the other end, though. Is that what happens in that book? They come out the other end?
There's a great deal of discussion about, you can wear makeup, that's your choice, but you don't have to.
No.
But if you want to, that's cool too. You know, so there's lots of that kind of, it's quite a moral grey areas and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so far one depressing book, one semi-depressing book, and I was going to say, is the next one going to be uplifting, but not judging by the title?
I don't find it depressing, that's the thing. The Dying Squad.
The Dying Squad, yeah, how good is that
This
for a
is
title?
by Adam, it's a great one. Adam Simcox, and I was really interested because it's set around Lincolnshire and Nottingham, and that's where I'm from. And in this one, we've got Detective Inspector Joe Lazarus, and you meet him first at the beginning of the book, and he's staking out a safe house for drug dealers who are running the county lines. So they're getting drugs from Nottingham out through little dealers and ensnaring everybody in the counties, kids particularly, you know, so that they can continue to sell drugs. So he's staking out this safe house, and it's all sneaky beaky secret stuff, and he knows they're in there, and he's in a ditch near the house, and this sassy skinny punk chick comes walking down the path, and he's like, what is going on here? And hops into the ditch next to him, and he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm on a stakeout. She's like, oh, cool, I'll join in, you know. And he doesn't know what's going on. She says, come on, I'm going to fix this for you. And they go up to the door, and they knock on it, and he's going, what are you doing? It's all going to turn to poo. And they go in this house, and there are two dead teenagers in the hall, and
my God.
and she says, I've got to show you something, and it's not going to be easy for you. And they go upstairs, and there's another body there, and it's his body. It's the body of Detective Inspector Joe
really?
Lazarus, and he's watching where he died.
Oh, no.
So...
Is it sort of like I See Dead People book?
Yeah, well, she, Daisy May, the punk chick, is his spirit guide. So she's come from purgatory, basically,
Yes.
In the afterlife, to guide him and to guide him into his death. So, of course, he just goes nuts and won't believe it. But then she takes him into purgatory, and they have to go and see the Duchess, who was the person in charge of purgatory. And there's something called the Dying Squad, which investigates murders. You know, people that can't move on, some people are chosen to investigate their own death, so that they can get closure. But
right.
the awkward thing is that as soon as you pass over, you start to lose your memories. So they've got these sticks of like adrenaline gum that will give them a shot of memory back. And so they have to come through something called the gloop to go between the two worlds, purgatory and this world, the living world. And Daisy May and Joe Lazarus go back to try and figure out how he died and who murdered him and what the hell's going on. And it gets really complicated because he can't remember stuff. And so when things are revealed to us, the reader, that they're revealed to him at the same time. So everybody gets a shock.
Yeah.
So it's really cleverly done. I liked it a lot.
Was it an easy read?
Yeah. So if you just think of like a Jack Reacher thriller, but with a bit of a supernatural twist.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
And it'd be a great movie.
It would be an excellent movie. Daisy May's just such a cracking little character, yeah.
And does Daisy May get to move on from purgatory, or is that a spoiler?
She actually does very well out of this. She goes on quite the journey.
Gets her wings, so to speak. Now, if we want any of these fabulous books, where do we get them?
Wardini Books, that would be fabulous, thank you.
Good on you, Lou. My pleasure as always. You look after yourself. We'll talk to the same time, same place next time.
Lovely. Cheers, Ken.